Tastes funny today. Oh, boy howdy. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to morning medley number 184. Oh my god, it's Thursday. That's good, that's good. The weather in Barcelona is nuts. Climate change is real. Says Isadora. Isadora, it's really like chilly here actually right now, which is weird. I mean, we're in the middle of July. It's summer. It's really chilly. I feel like this is the first stream I've had to wear a long sleeve shirt and like my sweatpants in a while. Since you are so early, Isadora. Thank you for being here, Isadora. There's a crow outside my window. Yesterday. There were no crows here. Well, lucky you, Isadora. There was a crow outside mine as well, but there's always crows here. morning to Lindsay. Did I say that out loud or did I just say that in my head? If I didn't say it out loud, I'm sorry, Lindsay. Good morning. Sorry, that was gonna bug me for the entirety of the stream. Cold. I would say it's in like. It's not too cold. It's like 60s right now. Hold on. I can't be trusted because I'm drinking a smoothie. Oh, it's 66 degrees. Okay, I can be trusted. All right, maybe I'm getting a little bit better at this. All right, I'm actually really bad at like telling what temperature it is. I can tell when it's in the 90s and I can tell when it's in the hundreds. And anything below that is like imperceptible to me. I don't understand why it's so cold this morning. That's the only reason I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt and like my sweatpants. I'm confused actually. Like the smoothie's actually difficult for me to consume in 66 degrees. favorite summer, Isidora. I got kind of upset yesterday because I was writing a chord and melody movement for like an outro of a song that went like this. Anyways, I was writing that, and there's another chord progression that I have. This one. I feel like they're too similar. They go in like a couple of different directions. I mean, they take little detours. Um, they take little detours, but I think the da 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 is too similar because a lot of the melody is hinging on that. So for this note, it'll be and then for the other one, it's no, sorry. Am I too stuck in my own head? It's just the melody that I'm hearing is too similar. I mean, I know it's in two different keys, but it's just too similar. Okay, while anybody's pondering that, Lindsay says, "Good morning, Ava. A fun challenge. Do you remember the melody you played yesterday that was tentatively named Cirrus?" Mmm. What was that? I don't. I don't. Hi, Jesse. I don't remember it right now, but I'm going to try. Hmm. Or I could just try to find it. I do remember playing it and enjoying it, and then I made you name it because I didn't want to forget it, and then you named it, and I forgot it. Hmm. Do, 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 do. I hate how similar they are because I love both of them so much. Maybe I can make like an alternate, like a variance in production or something like that. Are you guys familiar with the VIPs? Variance in production. Hiccups this time of the morning? I don't think I will. Oh! Whoa, what if I do though? Hold on. They are so similar. They're too similar. I think one of them does need to go. I think one of them does need to go. I'm not happy about it. VIP, never heard of it. It's a SoundCloud speak, Lindsay. What people would do is they would do VIPs. Like if you're a DJ and you have a song maybe that doesn't fit well in a set, you would make a variance in production. Like you would open it up in FL Studio and maybe add more kicks to the beginning, add drums to the outro, so that's easier to like DJ transition in and out of. Or maybe you would take out like a bridge altogether and just make it, whatever. VIPs. Hmm. Lindsay, you wouldn't happen to remember what the minute mark in the video was, would you? That the tune happened in? It was within the first 5 minutes. Why did I think it was towards the end? Are you sure? I'm trusting you. I'll find it. Oh, I hate hearing myself play piano. Oh, okay, I remember it, I remember it, I remember it. Or at least I remember something close to it. So many people learn music with that method without knowing any theories, says Zora. Today I was hearing about the Suzuki method to learn instruments, and I remember to learn violin with that method, and I never learned anything about that theory. Oh. Explain the theory to me as well as you possibly can in limited words, I guess. Easy Dora. I feel like that's like the. I must have heard that in something. I want to take that, then I want to move it somewhere else, though. I want to move it. Maybe here? Sorry. Maybe move it there, though. That's wrong. That's extremely wrong. On me. You know better than that. What is that? weird sounding bird. It doesn't even sound like a chirp. It's awful. It's an awful sound. Good morning, Liana. I think I might like it up there better. Does this qualify as an ARP? It does. Good year, Ooh. Yeah, that's where it is. Oh, that's what you look like. Hmm. So loud. It's one of those ones with the weird like white stripe on its wings. Yeah, how's everyone's morning going? Hello, 1326 from Russia. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate you. Hope you are doing well. Wherever in Russia it is that you live. 184. It's also a vibraphone, guys. I have no idea how to find a doctor, Ava. Good morning, kid. I'm doing okay, kid. How are you doing? It's okay, kid. I hope you get some. I hope you get some good sleep soon. Goodness gracious. What is that? Sounds like a robot, says Isidore. It is a robot. It is a robot. Nearly identical. Pose set up hair guards. I'm sorry, Ava. That sounds like a headache. I think they're fixing the staircase. The staircase on the way to go outside of my apartment is not stable. I know how to handle it, but I think if somebody didn't know how to handle it, they could possibly get hurt. It's just a really janky staircase, so I think they're, I don't know, making them less janky. But it is going to be a little noisy. Just a heads up. The stream's probably going to have to get cut a little shorter than the usual stream. I'm reading about the Suzuki method, says Lindsay, and I feel like it partially applies to how I learned piano when I was young. I think it would have been nice to do 100% though. Gosh, I'm cold. I'm just cold, that's all. That's because I'm back to work. Hopefully it'll even out again. I hope so too, kid. I'm glad you're working though. read music. Only if I knew what the heck the pieces sound like first. You're welcome for reflection pool, kid. Hi, Jayla. What are you playing? It sounds nice, says Jayla. I don't know. I don't know. No, I was just messing around, Jayla. That wasn't a joke. I wasn't playing a song. I was just improvising for a minute. Back with me and my daughter not knowing theory music. It's a shame, says Isadora. Yeah. Theory. There's always time to learn. This is true, Lindsay. Oh, it's gonna be a noisy stream. Okay, I do like that chord progression though. However, I was trying to take it because like I feel like the chord progression, the typical one or the predictable one, is like da, da, and then yeah. But I didn't want to do that because I get bored. And then I wanted to go. So I go like. Ew! Sorry. Sometimes when I hear. Something's wrong with my brain. Sometimes when I hear chord progressions that are like very, very pop chord progressions, even with like bass line movements, I get like upset. I don't know. I get upset when it's coming from me. If it's coming from somebody else, it's really cool. But that's like, what is that? That's like a John Legend song or something. That's not a me song. I don't know if I could write a song in that chord progression. I think it would break some important part of my soul. Isadora says, "When I'm happy, I can play all the things I love without reading sheets." Yeah, that's good. That's a good Isadora. I feel the same way. Sometimes about learning other things. Hmm. So I can go like. Screw that song. Yeah, you can't play down there. What can I do with that? I mean, I could. Oh, guys, not knowing music theory is a wild ride. Okay, all right, all right. And then, I just hate how cheesy that is. It's really hard to make. It's really hard to make that not cheese. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, okay, okay. Get out of here. That helps that chord a little bit. So then instead of just simply playing that, we can do like a. Ugh. I give up. I'll come back to it later. I'll come back to it later. Freaking just sounds like John Legend no matter what I do. Okay. Tomorrow is the production stream, guys. Oh, that one felt good. Tomorrow's a production stream, guys, so I probably should start getting prepared for what exactly I am going to go over in it. I finally have all of my stuff plugged in like really well now, guys. I kind of want to show you, but maybe I will at the very, very end of the stream. But I finally have everything like I'm at like 80% as far as like the production stream being exactly the way I want it. I kind of want to have a wide angle webcam, a wide angle lens webcam for the top down thing, so I can capture more of the keyboards over there. But all things considered, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think I just about have everything exactly where I want it. Lindsay wants to see. It's not. Nothing's really been moved, Lindsay. Nothing's been moved. It won't look any different to you, maybe, but it's just that I went to. Where did I go? Home Depot. I went to Home Depot and I bought a bunch of those little like Velcro ties, and I've wrapped all of my cables and like labeled them, so now they're going into like my little USB hub, and everything's like neat. Because it used to just kind of be a mess of wires underneath the computer desk. Because it was like MIDI fighter cable, reface cable, MX61 cable, drum machine cable, 2 webcam cables, my speaker cables, my micro cord cable. It was just like a knot, and so I went in yesterday and I actually unplugged everything, like wrapped them in Velcro, and then labeled them, and then redistributed everything. Just trying to keep things neat. Hello, Izzy. It was nice being in the stream for a little bit. Hey, everyone, have a great day. Drink some water and remember to smile. Oh, Izzy's out of here. Well, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, Izzy. I got a Mini Fighter 64 coming on Monday. Oh, congratulations. Ta-da. That's really exciting. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have and continue to enjoy mine. Okay. So we probably should start going over to some degree what I'm going to go over on the production stream. So for the past 3 production streams, I've just gone over like making like those funky houseier tracks, as well as doing less stream songs. Somebody in the stream last Friday, towards the very end of it, asked me how to build a specific sound. So I thought about maybe going over some sound design. The only reason that I don't particularly have a lot of excitement towards sound design streams is because I like for there to be somewhat of a narrative, and I like that when people are in the stream, they can hear a sense of a song being built. And with sound design, for those of you that don't know, sound design isn't a lot of context. It's a lot of like me making weird noises with the synthesizer, like shaping sound that doesn't necessarily have any context or place where it belongs. And so that can be not as entertaining and not as like pretty for a stream, if that makes sense. So that's why I usually am a little bit hesitant to do streams based on sound design. But I might like designate a specific amount of time, maybe 30 minutes to an hour for sound design in the stream tomorrow. Who knows? But for the stream tomorrow, I think it's going to be another song build. I'm probably going to spend some time. I don't know what they're cutting out there. Glass. But I'm probably going to spend some time building another song. Probably a couple of them. I like that pattern and that routine of kind of like building up one song until it's about 40%, and then starting a new song and building up that until it's about 40%. I also would like to, in the stream, like I did with that breakup song, I would like to revisit a song that maybe we worked on in a previous stream or that I've already started a little bit, and then just actually produce. Because, Lindsay says, what kind of song do you think you want to make? I'm not sure. I've been making a lot of bouncy stuff lately. I thought about making an orchestral arrangement, but I'm not exactly sure. I guess I'll probably, unless somebody has very strong opinions on it, I'm probably just going to make a decision on the morning of. But I think for the production stream, something I want to do is I want to visit some songs that already have like some production done on them, and like actually produce. Because for the most part, what I'm doing in the Friday streams is I'm like speed producing. There is a certain level of urgency to just about everything I do. And it's because I would like for people in the stream to hear a piece of music before the stream ends, you know? I don't want people to come into the stream and then listen to me like EQing a kick for 45 minutes. I want people to like get a sense of, you know, there was silence, now there's chords. There was chords, now there's a bass line. There was a bass line, now there's drums. There's drums, now there's a hook. Like I want people to get a sense of like how it works. So because of that, I am working a little bit faster than I would naturally work. I'm working at like stream pacing, which is a little bit increased. So I think I would like to at some point in the Friday stream tomorrow visit a song that is already in progress that I've already done a little bit of work on, and then just start fleshing it out slowly, coming with some ideas for it. Um, I think an orchestral piece would be fun, change of pace. Yeah, I think I do that a lot in Lindsay. I do that usually in like bridges. Like there will be, you know, an upbeat song, and then for the bridge, it's like, oh, here comes the woodwinds, or here comes the strings. But it would be nice to do an entire orchestral arrangement. Today I have citrus lavender tea flavor. That sounds delicious. I've got to make these two songs not sound exactly the same to me. These, first of all, I'm not crazy, right? You guys can hear the similarity between this. Can you guys hear the similarity between that and then this? The rhythm and cadence is similar. Yeah. It's so upsetting for me. Well, I like both of them, so it's not upsetting because I don't like them, but it's upsetting because I spent a significant amount of time yesterday coming up, or last night, coming up with that. Oh, coming up with. I spent about 30-ish minutes to an hour coming up with and arranging and then writing that. And then I was like pulling up old projects and I found the like. They could play together as one song. I thought about that. They're just so far apart, like harmonically. I I don't know how to make them fit together without it sounding forced, without it sounding like weird and yeah, I don't know. Something to think about though. Something I'm gonna be tussling with probably for the next couple of weeks. I feel like they're similar, but they could be a part of the same soundtrack, so to speak. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the the specifically the da 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 is like very and the specific cadence. I love that cadence so much, but I don't know how to make those two fit. I don't know how to make those two fit. Da, da, da. I feel like there's a way to tie them together. Maybe just some chords in common so they intentionally sound connected. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did that sound? No, not clarinet, not clarinet, not clarinet. That's not what we need. Is that weird? Is that weird? Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. I guess just it's a matter of getting from here to here. Is the through the is over part? Okay. So connecting the two. This isn't anything. This is just I played them back to back, and I was like, does that sound weird? But like, I'm just gonna start from the beginning. So the connection literally is just the last chord of the first and the first chord of the last. So. It wasn't as complicated as I thought. Yeah, I guess we'll just make them the same song. At least for the morning medleys for now. I'm gonna delete both traces of the recorded versions that I have because I don't want to get too married to those. But So the opposite of going. Yeah. Will I ever be able to find it? Oh my god. Okay. We're making something. So maybe. No. What? Oh my god, my brain. Oh. Whoa. Okay, I feel like you could even use the back of the first part after you do the second part. I'm so messed up right now. My brain. Okay, so they're not the same. I'm so messed up. Because I realized that if I knew traditional music theory, there's a word for what's happening. But okay, so here's why I messed up, Lindsay. Because if I go like this, if I'm playing this song, that song was not written before this song. This song that I'm playing right now was written first. And then when I wanted to making experiments with playing with the black keys more, I transposed this song down here. And so all of these notes it's literally the same exact movements as this song. Like, the only difference is everything is just transposed one down. The distances between all the notes are the same. They're consistent. This song... This song and this song are the spacing between the notes and those chords are not the same. And it's this and this. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Never mind, Lindsay. I think I fixed it. Ooh, I'm gonna get hot and ready with that money, Nadia. Thank you. Which means that if I'm trying to get from this, it'll be like. I'm so sorry, guys. I know this is annoying. Okay. Which means it would be. They are the same. Um, yeah, they can still fit. I was doing something really weird, Lindsay. So Lindsay. Ow, Christ. Because I don't know music theory, I perceive a lot of the chords I play to be the same chord with different notes. Like for my brain, this chord, this chord, and this chord, to me are the same chord. They're the same bass chord with a little note slid around. And I realized that in actual music theory, if you play one chord and then you move one note in the chord, you're no longer playing that chord anymore. You are now playing a new, second, unique chord. But in my brain, that is the same chord. You've just moved a small piece of it. It's like if you have a pizza and you move a pepperoni from one slice to another slice, you still have a whole pepperoni pizza. But in music theory, it doesn't necessarily work that way. The arrangement of the pepperonis does identify the type of pizza. And so the reason that has gotten me tripped up is because these two movements, Lindsay and everyone. No, let me not start up there so as not to confuse anybody. Literally just this movement. That's the last chord. And then this time when I do hands perceive this and this as the same chord. Now I know they don't sound the same, but I'm going to think of them as the same chord. It's just the same chord with a little sauce on it. And it's just not the same. So what I was trying to do, Lindsay, is I was trying to take this and match it to this, which can't work because this and this aren't the same thing. This is the same as this, and this is the same as this, but I was trying to match this to this, and I was trying to match this to this. Without any type of terminology, it's going to be very difficult for me to explain exactly what it was I was doing. Basically, I was trying to match two things that weren't the same. And I knew they weren't the same. It's just that my brain, when I play, it thinks of chords in a weird way. Okay, look up the cervical fist, Lindsay, says Cyber, if you want a small crash course on spacing notes. It's just interesting, too, people of the stream, because this part of the chord progression, hold on. This part is the identifying part. And then I go through it again. And then this is the identifying part. But the identifying parts of the chord the chord progression are basically, and then those are the two identifying parts. Everything else I play around it, all of this stuff, all that stuff is unique. But the identifying parts of the chord progression, again, are and so when I play the second chord progression, this is the identifying part. And then I play all the unique stuff again. And then the identifying part, which is, yeah. So in these two chord progressions, The two identifying parts again are and then the second one it's and. See how they're basically the same thing? But everything else I play before I get to that ending or that like cap, that bookend of the chord progression are very different. Those things don't actually relate to each other. This is not at all the same as this. Those are two very, very different chord progressions. It's just that they're ended the same. So when I'm playing those two things after one another, if I'm playing those two chord progressions after one another, so. Nothing really fits until I get to the end where it's like, oh yeah, that's the familiar part. I'm definitely gonna play with those two progressions a little bit more as time goes on, to figure them out, and how I can implement them and combine them with each other. Okay. I'm gonna go get some water, guys. If that's okay, I'll be right back. I hate to leave the stream just on silence. The one cool thing about the OBS stream is I could at least like put up a video or something like that to keep the stream from just going completely dead in my absence. Whoa! I just realized that my chat isn't refreshing. Hold on. Sorry, I'm not saying anything you guys are saying. Good. Hold on. I just realized. Oh my god. I'm back. Oh my god, I can see you guys. I haven't been able to see any of this stuff. Okay, so Dar's here, by the way. Hi, Dar. I guess my brain is broken because the ending parts being similar makes it okay, says Lindsay. No, I agree with you. That doesn't sound wrong to me. I think that the ending parts does help tie them together. Oh, am I gonna sneeze? Mine wasn't either. Had to refresh, says Jesse. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Jesse. I'll be right back, though. I'll be right back. Tasty. Okay, all right. Caesar's pen. What? Oh, please don't imagine my room as an escape room. I gotta escape out of here. Okay. Um, all of us as creatives get lost in our own creative energy. Energy patterns. I'm gonna use the word patterns. And yesterday I talked briefly about chord progressions, or specifically my chord progressions, how nonsensical they are, because I feel like a lot of people will have. No, I don't want to use the term nonsensical, because even sub is in here, and even sub is like our regional jazz music expert. And when I played music with Mac, for those of you that were in the Mac stream, or even know who Mac is or her music, when I was playing her music, every now and then I'll still play this chord progression that she taught me. I play it a lot, and it's like when she taught me that chord progression, I thought to myself, first I thought, well, I've heard this chord progression everywhere. In fact, when she taught me the first two, I was like, I think I know where this is going. And then when she taught me this one, I was like, I already know what the fourth chord is. There's no way that fourth chord isn't this. There's no way that the fourth chord doesn't go down there. There's no way that this chord progression goes like. There's no way. There's no way it does that. There's no way. No way anybody else would do that in their right mind. I would do it, but nobody. I feel like she definitely would. And so when it ended up on this chord, I was like, okay. And then when even Sub was on the stream yesterday, and they were talking about like, oh, in jazz, if you tell somebody like in the key of this chord progression is a 5-1-4-6 in the key of D, they'll just know what the chord progression is. And I was like, that makes sense, because you learn things in chunks, memory chunks. That's a whole thing. If you want to learn more about memory chunks, there's actually a really good video that I talked about maybe 100 streams ago about language acquisition and how children learn languages and how they learn the languages in chunks and not necessarily in grammatical structures. And that's why children, babies, are able to learn 1 to 2 languages so much easier than adults are, because adults are more so concerned with the laws behind every word, what the word means, how it's pronounced, what is it supposed to do, what's its purpose. Kids don't really think about language that way when they're learning their first language. They're instead thinking about chunks of things that will get a point across. They're not really thinking about proper conjugation and grammatical structures. Now the same thing works with music. When you're telling somebody a chord progression like a 5-1-4-3 or a 2-4, I don't know, I'm just saying random numbers, but if you're telling somebody that, they're remembering it as a chunk of chords. They're not thinking of the first chord, then the second chord, what that's called, the third chord is like an E minor or something, the third chord is a G major, I don't know. They're not thinking about that, they're just thinking about it in chunks of sequences. And a lot of times, my chord arrangements for my songs are arranged 1 chord at a time. I don't think of them as chord sequences. I know that there's a big thing. Thanks, Franklin. There's a big thing called the 2-5-1 in jazz music. And I don't know enough about it to talk about it here. But I do know that my music uses it a lot. I don't have any ready examples for you guys. If I just played my music, if I played like signal stuff, you definitely hear them. I don't have any ready-made examples for you guys, though, because I just haven't done enough studying on something like that. But that is a jazz thing. A 2-5-1, it's like a 3-chord progression. 2-5, the 2 chord, the 5 chord, and then the 1 chord. And a lot of jazz musicians just have memorized 2-5-1s in every key, every possible permutation of a 2-5-1. They know it. And I think that is a chunk of chords. A 2-5-1 is not 1 chord. A 2-5-1 is a sequence of chords. And for me, when I'm doing my chord progressions for my songs, I almost never think about chords and sequences. I don't think about, okay, so for this song, I want to go up to the 4 and then to the 2, or now I'm at a flat 7, better head to the 6. I don't think about chords and sequences. I literally will play one chord and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Where to go from there? Yeah, that sounds cool. And then I can go, yeah, that's cool. And then here, 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 and then here. Like I just, to me, it's literally like building blocks. Like I put another chord on top of the tower, then I put another chord on top of the tower, then I put another chord on top of the tower, and then oh, when I've finished, or I found some way to get from the last chord to the first chord, I found a way to loop it, then I'm like, ah, cool, a chord progression. Then I set that aside. And then usually somebody that knows a lot more about music theory than I do, which doesn't take much, will analyze my chord progression and tell me, oh, you did a blah 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 blah, or there's like, that's weird that you went from blank to blank, or oh, you just changed keys, or you did a thing. And to me, since I don't have that theoretical knowledge, I don't really know the context for that. It's just I'm putting. There's so many chords, guys, on a piano. There's so many chord possibilities, far outside of the range of the stuff that I'm doing. And so I'll just stack them in. I come back to this chord a lot. I come back to this chord a lot, the K drama chord, this one. I started playing that chord in streams a little bit after I watched like my first K drama. I don't know if that chord specifically appeared in that K drama, but whenever I hit it, it sounds like drama to me. So I called it the K drama chord. But I didn't exactly know how to put it in music because it didn't sound like it belonged in a sequence. It sounded more like a stinger chord. It sounded like something that you would play in a cinematic atmosphere, not necessarily in like a top 40s pop song. I didn't know where to put it. And so it kind of just sat in this weird little like bag of chords that I had, and I kept kind of trying to shoehorn it into stuff. Like I would be playing like Beneath the City, and then I would play the K-drama chord, and I'm like, it still kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Or I would be playing Over and Under. And I was like, oh, it still sounds weird. Thrown into stuff. But eventually I ended up finally putting it in a chord progression after this chord. I would play that chord going into the K-drama chord. And it kind of gave me this cool, weird, like dissonant, slidey vibe. I don't know exactly how to describe what this sounds like to me. But I do like the way that sounds. And so I ended up putting it in a song called Old Enough, which is one of my quarantunes. It's the music video is on my YouTube. So I would just learn a chord. Whenever I learn a new chord, I just think of it as being in a big bag of chords. They don't necessarily belong to a specific key. They don't necessarily belong to a specific sequence or anything. They're just chords. And then when I'm coming up with a new chord progression and I want to try to add something to it and I'm trying to find where to go, I'll just kind of rifle through the bag of chords that I have. And like for what's a good example? A good example is probably liminality. So when I got here, that chord, when I was trying to go to the next chord, I had my melody already. And I could go from here to here. I didn't like the way that sounded though. So that's usually what I do. When I have a chord progression, it's like I have two chords, and then I'm looking for the third chord, and it's kind of like I'm just spinning around a big wheel of chords that I have, and I'm like, where's the third chord? This one? And I'm like, no. This one? No. This one? I kind of just keep trying to fit a chord on it. And the wild thing that's at play here is that really any chord can go there. There isn't a chord that can't go there. Even as I was playing the K drama chord in other chord progressions, like La City. If I sneak the K drama chord in there, I can still make that work. Because technically, when I go up there, that is the K drama chord. Point is, I just have a lot of contextless chords that I just throw into chord progressions. And then when it comes time for maybe me to be playing with other musicians, which never really happens, or when it comes time for somebody else to analyze my music, which happens pretty often, they'll say, what key is the song in? What chord movement are you using? And I just don't know what to tell them because I've just pretty much pulled chords out of a hat. Sometimes it ends up sounding really cool. Sometimes it ends up sounding a little bit more disjointed and weird. Like if you think about 78 to Downtown. No. Taking chords and harmonizing a jingle that plays on a bus, it doesn't follow a traditional chord scheme, I guess. Chord sequence is the word. Love Letters is kind of similar to that too, where it's just I was just playing chords that I knew. I was kind of just rifling out chords from my little chord bag, which was a little bit smaller back then, but still coming up with chords from the chord bag and not really worrying about how they fit into a key or anything like that or an idea. Jayla says, this makes me feel so much better because that is also my approach to chords, and I always feel inferior to my friends who have training in music theory. Yeah, screw your friends, Jayla. I'm joking, but only partially. Don't worry about it. Just, yeah, throw chords together. I mean, if you want to learn music theory, it's definitely there for you, but at the end of the day, actually, I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna say something to make sure I get to the bottom of the chat before I address that, but there is something important I wanted to say pertaining to that. I think building chord progressions with sequences already in mind can make people fall into the same patterns. I don't know, though. That's kind of getting close to what I was going to say, Lindsay. Jesse says, to be honest, that's one of the reasons that I love listening to your music. It's always very surprising. Oh, that's actually really sweet, Jesse. Thank you. So with the golden chord in Liminality, you just base that off the melody? Sorry, just wanted to make sure that I heard that right. No, not quite. The golden chord. Here's what the golden chord. Here's the trick to the golden chord. All I did for the golden chord is I've talked about this a lot in streams, but my bass notes, my bass lines for piano are often just 3 notes. It's often an octave with 1 note in the middle. There's so many of my songs that follow this. Keyline does. That's just one example, but trust me, there's tons of my songs that have that. I mean, Witchy Song even is one of them. So a lot of my songs, that's the bass note. Very rarely, but sometimes I will do that in the top half. So a good example of that is this song. Ooh, sorry, messed that up. And then when I arpeggiate it, also in Flight Plan. So the golden chord in Liminality is just this chord, which is the chord from Embrace. It's that chord. All I did was I took that chord and I played the highest note from that chord as an octave. So the highest note from that chord is this. And I put a note in the middle. And then I played around with it and made a melody around it. It's basically just one chord extended to all heck. Okay, and Jayla, going back to that point and kind of touching on Lindsay's point too, one of the things that a lot of music theory people say is you have to know the rules in order to break the rules. And I'm going to take that and apply it a little bit to my chord progressions, where if somebody knew all of the 2-5-1s and the 5-6-7s and the 3-3-3s and the 6-4-5s, and if somebody knew all of those, then essentially they could attempt to or go about breaking those rules by no longer following those numerical sequences for chords. However, I don't know those numerical sequences, and I break those rules all the time just because I think of chords as all being in a lake together and not necessarily having alliances or affinities or little families. I just think of them as a bunch of open air chords, and I can just willy-nilly assemble them. Now, if I did know all those sequences, one of my fears is that I would start writing chords in those sequences, because a lot of people that I know that know music theory write chords and sequences, and also a lot of people that I know that don't even necessarily know music theory, but maybe they play pop music, or they play in a band or an ensemble where they are kind of playing off of other people. Usually they will play an easier to follow chord sequences. Also, a lot of singers I know will make music that are and easier to follow sequences because it's easier to sing around, right? Something that's difficult to sing around is like chaser chords. Coming up with a vocal melody or vocal stylings for that would be kind of hard unless you were just scatting, like jazz style vocal scatting. Same thing for like Winter Heart or that sequence in Love Letters. A lot of those sequences are hard to sing around because they don't follow a pretty rigid system that's easier for people to write top lines and melodies to. Thanks, Umbe. Thank you, Umbe. I enjoyed writing Chaser. It was supposed to be a lot shorter. Jesse says, I won't say all the time, but in a lot of times, those rule breaks often feel very methodical also. Ooh, Jesse, talk about it. Talk about it, Jesse. I'm not gonna go down that road, just like you aren't either. You aren't either gonna go down that road because we're both very smart, but boy howdy, is that a thing. Boy, is that a thing. I wish that musicians could all just like get along and appreciate each other, but there is this really weird like, and I mean I've played my part in it too, so I can't act like I'm just like a completely unbiased observer. I've definitely played the part of the uneducated musician that has like a little bit of animosity towards the academic musician, because I feel like there is a lot of it's one of those things where it's like, was it the chicken and the egg? Even though I kind of know that the chicken came first. Not specifically the chicken and the egg, but to this analogy that I'm saying right now, like I feel like artists who have gone to school and who have received a higher education on music and art do kind of develop a little bit, generality, I'm speaking in generalities, not everybody, so please don't. think I'm saying this about everybody, but there is this kind of like a little bit of like a chip on a shoulder where like you know a little bit and you even if you don't actively say horrible things about other artists, you inwardly look down on some other artists that aren't educated because you think, oh, this could be so much better if they knew, or they shouldn't do it like this, they should do it like that. There is a little bit of like a condescension when you have that education. And as somebody that is uneducated in art, sometimes there is a deep contempt or animosity towards the entire structure of art education because you see it as superfluous or classist, which it is classist. I don't know if it's superfluous though. Probably is very, very useful, but it is a little bit of a classist thing. So there's hate from both sides. And I think I've definitely played part in the hate for like music school and people who have gone to music school because everybody that I looked up to in, well, not everybody, because I looked up to Quincy Jones and he's very educated, but most of the people that I looked up to in music were not educated, and most of the people that I know were educated in music were not people I looked up to musically. Sometimes it could be people I looked up to. I really like a lot of things that Eric Andre's done. Eric Andre's fun, but I don't think that his bachelor's degree from Berkeley School of Music is the reason I look up to him. You know, like the fact that most people don't even know he has a bachelor's from Berkeley School of Music is like just helps prove my point. Like it didn't do anything. So he is a very funny dude though, Cyber. He is a very funny dude. But yeah, that's my point. And so I try in my life now, whenever the topic comes up of like music school, I try to be as neutral as possible because I know a lot of good people have gotten an education in music and they're great. And I think a lot of people, like if your parents are super wealthy and you can just go, then like why wouldn't you just go? Wouldn't that be silly to just not go, even though it was like free or very cheap for you? It's just that usually things that are very opaquely classes, I don't give much of a chance to. So yeah, I mean, to what Jesse said, like sometimes even when they break the rules, that's even a little bit methodical. Yeah, it is. It is. There's like, I talked briefly about like, what's it called? Is it called like Berkeley Funk? Do you know what I'm talking about, Jesse? Is it called Berkeley Funk? I think it actually is called Berkeley Funk. There's like a type of music called Berkeley Funk, and it's like not a good thing. It's because everybody that graduated from Berkeley all were like, I'm gonna go against the grain and make this like jazz infused, super technical, kind of hard to follow, but harmonically impressive music. And they all thought they were like the only person with that idea, and they weren't. Um, Same thing happens in a lot of things, by the way, so not to just pick on people from Berkeley, but the same thing happens with a lot of genres. I think that there's definitely a lot of some bodies that were like, my chiptune music's gonna be different. It's gonna have jazz chords in it, and it's like ooh, ooh, ooh. And then it turns out there's like actually a lot of people that write jazzy chiptune music. Hey, what's up, Even Sub? You came at a good time. Ava says, I know college for me was a way to force myself to try new things and grow. I improved way more during college than I did in the years drawing preceding it. Word up, Ava. We talked about this briefly. I remember. This kind of... Oh, crap. Sorry, J-Lo. This kind of reminds me of software engineers and self-trained coders occupying some of the same jobs. Yeah, it's pretty funny, isn't it, J-Lo? Fujimori got his degree at Berkeley. Word up. Bye, Kiwi. Thanks for being in the stream. It's hard for a lot of people to maintain discipline without external consequences, says Lindsay. Yeah. I almost said something really divisive, but I mean I'm gonna say it anyway. But I don't wanna have a conversation about it. But I would argue if there's no if there's no external consequences for doing something, then just don't do it. there's no external consequence for doing something, just don't do it. I don't think I ever do anything without external consequences. Honestly, I just don't think I do. I don't think I do. I think that I don't break laws because I don't want to be punished for breaking the law. I don't hurt people's feelings because an external consequence of that is like them being upset with me, and that makes me feel bad. So I don't want to like hurt people's feelings for that reason. I don't wear shoes in the house because like it's disgusting and there's consequences for disgusting houses. I don't know. I work on music all the time because the external consequence of me not doing that is my career nosediving and then me going hungry and I don't know, losing my apartment. There's external consequences for pretty much every single thing that I do. I don't think that I do anything that doesn't have like some type of like horrible backfire if I neglect it. Um, what was your external consequence for not doing music earlier in life? Just being sad and having nothing to do. Like I don't know if I've talked about my high school career or whatever in the stream much, but I was miserable in high school. There was really nothing to do. It was video games and whatever else I could find around the house, and music was the thing that was on my computer. I get like really really upset if I'm not doing something. Some people are very comfortable just being bored and like sitting down, like laying on the couch for like 8 hours. Like, I think if I do that, like I fall into a very deep depression. So, I'm working on music because it was like fun. There's an external consequence to never having fun, by the way. If you're never having fun, I don't know what kind of state you're in emotionally, but it can't be a good one. I never understand why people wear shoes in the house, says J-Lo. I don't know. I don't know why people wear shoes in the house. I don't know why people put their like feet up on furniture and stuff like that. It is a thing that bothers me, but I don't know. America, right? Even some's name is JD. Word up. I'm gonna try to remember it. JD. Who can forget JD? Jermaine Dupri. Um, that's all I got. That's all I got actually. Jermaine Dupri. That's all I got. Okay, now I'm trying to think of things that don't have external consequences, says Jesse. I'm going to use that because it's a freeze my brain. Oh, man. Arizona seems rough for a childhood. Yeah, yes. There's so many things I could say, but I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to conclude with yes. It can be rough for childhood. I got into art, says Ava, because I was home alone all summer. I'd sit and do fan art, crappy comments for hours. Fact, says Nadia. I wanted to make JD my artist name, but it's already taken. Word up. I think that, yeah. I honestly, here's how I think I go through life. Lindsay, I will do things out of obligation, or I will do things because they make me happy. If I don't tend to my obligations, like rent, the consequence of that is that I get evicted. That sucks. If I neglect my own happiness by, say, moving back to air, or quitting music, or getting rid of my TV, or never talking to my friends and family, that also has an external consequence for me. It's different. I'm not evicted, but I'm horribly upset because I've done that. Because I have done that before. I've like stopped making music for a little while, or I've like stopped hanging out with friends for a while. But I honestly think, Lindsay, that if that consequence didn't exist, like if I could stop making music and it wouldn't make me feel worthless or like I've lost all value as a person, I might not make music, or at least not as often. I might like make it every now and then, but not nearly as often as I do. This is like part of my personal like emotional upkeep at this point. But yeah, I guess that's a hot take. Yeah, if there's no external consequences for doing something, just don't do it. Just protect your energy, I guess. What is that? Protect your peace? What'd that girl tell me? Okay, alright. We were talking about something. Which is basically that Berkeley Funk was a thing, and that knowing the rules, breaking the rules. A lot of people are going to break the rules in the same exact way. Somebody thought that they were going to be the first person to put jazz chords on synthesizer. They're like, I'm going to make EDM, but there's going to be jazz chords in it. And I'm sure somebody somewhere was the first person to do that, but it was a long time ago. Nobody's doing that for the first time anymore. Nobody's going to be the first person to do that. Nobody's going to be the first person to chop a jazz sample anymore. We've done it. Nobody's going to be the first person to slow down an old R&B record. We've done that. But I just think that's funny. Innovation is hard. Innovation is really tough. But I think that micro innovation is what I'm about. That's what I'm about. Micro innovation. I think that we being everybody in this stream, is responsible for some micro innovations of our own. And I might have talked about this in the stream, but unfortunately, because of the vastness of the world and that we can't see and perceive everything, you're not privileged to the knowledge of where exactly your innovation goes, like who it's inspiring, or who's taking something from it, where exactly your inspiration's coming from. Something really funny that I used to say in the stream, and this is a long time ago, like over 200 streams ago, like back when I was on Instagram. I would play, this song is called I Miss You, by the way. The song I play all the time. It originally sounds like this. But when I play it in the stream, I often play with Rhodes, and I'll play it like this. I'll play it like that in the stream, and it sounds more bossa nova adjacent. It sounds more like South American than the original one that sounds a little bit more like classically informed. So, oh, thanks, Jaime. I really appreciate that. I very rarely play it in the stream as it was initially recorded, so I'm glad that you have heard the original and enjoy it. But it's like it's performed with a more like bossa nova tip or spin or flavor. Now, when I used to play that version of it in the Instagram streams, people always go like, this sounds like Wii Shop channel music, or this sounds like Wii Fit music, or this sounds like Nintendo. They beat me over the head with a Nintendo stick. And I thought to myself, why do so many people associate bossa nova chords and bossa nova rhythms to Nintendo? And then I actually did, like, not active research, but just over the next couple of years, I was very hyper aware of when, Wii music started playing. It was very loungy, kish, bossa nova type music. And that was a choice. Somebody made that choice. I don't know the composer by name, so unfortunately I can't credit them for this right now. But they made a choice when making the music for Wii and making the music for like that no Nintendo suite, that they wanted it to sound very loungy, like bossa nova. Maybe it was because it was relaxing. Maybe it was because it sounded like a lobby. I could go over all of the whole history of how bossa nova music in America has been kind of geared to be more so for lounges and bars and elevators and lobbies, and not necessarily for clubs. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to say that for whatever reason, the Nintendo Wii became this kind of bossa nova machine. And for people that weren't necessarily learning on music or weren't doing the research on music, would go, oh, okay, this is Wii music. Oh, JD says I think it's not only the rhythm and the chord choice, but also the sound that you're using that makes people think it's Wii music. Okay, so that's another thing to note. Rhodes piano, in general, I use a lot of Rhodes piano. I have a literal mini Rhodes piano, Yamaha Reface that it's analog. I have Rhodes piano. It's in a lot of my music. If you listen to Daydream, Rhodes piano. You listen to Less Dream, Rhodes piano. You listen to Quick Breath, Rhodes piano. You listen to Ego Death, Rhodes piano. There's a lot of Rhodes piano because I just personally like the sound of a Rhodes piano. Rhodes piano. Um, it's been used on quite a few bossa nova tracks, and also the rhythm and stuff like that. So yeah, it all contributes to people going like, this is Wii music. They think it's Wii music because that was, maybe even if it wasn't their first experience with bossa nova type music, maybe it was their most frequent and most recent experience with bossa nova type music. So they have attributed it to Nintendo instead of Brazil, you know, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that, but I think it's really interesting because a lot of kids or people that were kids, when they went to go make music, they were like, I love video games, so I'm going to make music like video games. And while 10, 20 years ago, that was making chiptune, nowadays, that can be making music that sounds like that. People can be like, oh, I love Nintendo, I'm going to make Nintendo type beat. And they'll make basically a bossa nova track. Now, you might ask that person like, oh, do you like bossa nova? They might not know what it is. They might not listen to a lot of bossa nova. They might not care what bossa nova is or where it comes from, because to their brain and their path, they're making video game music. And so I said all of that whole thing to say, micro innovations, when you're doing something, guys, and you're making art or you're tweeting a specific way, you're doing anything, you're kind of micro innovating. And people are going to perceive that stuff, especially now with the internet. People that you don't know, people that you'll never know, ever meet, ever even be aware of, are seeing or hearing or feeling what you're doing, and they're using it to inform things in their life. And so sometimes you could be, you know, inspired by, let's say, Imogene Heap. You could be super inspired by Imogene Heap, and you're trying to make a song that sounds like Imogene Heap, and in your eyes, maybe you're failing, or you're just like the poor man's Imogene Heap, but maybe some person that has no idea who Imogene is, but knows who you are inspired to then create something. And they are, in some really weird way, being inspired by Imogene Heap through you. And I think that that's a really cool thing that happens, because when I first started making music, I was making like a lot of video game nerd-y type sounds. I was just trying to make video game music, you know. I had RPG Maker and I wanted to make a soundtrack for video games I was making. And I think as time has gone on, I've pulled, you know, inspirations from here and there. Some of them conscious, some of them subconscious, and then other people. I've seen people. I've said this before. I'm not gonna mention this particular artist, but their music is like, oh, I can't say it. I can't say their name is, because the things I'm about to say are gonna sound mean. And I'm hyper aware of how easily things can be taken out of context, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But there is an artist who sounds, in the amount of ego that's going to be in this statement. I apologize, because there's just no easier or cooler way to say this. They sound like the poor man's me. They sound like they listens to my music a lot, which they did, because if you go on their SoundCloud, it's just a bunch of Omniboy retweets. And then when you listen to their music, it's like, oh, I see what's happening here. Like, I see exactly where the inspiration's coming from. I see you listen to, like, Sugar Glider, like, 50 or something times, and now you're making a song, and it kind of sounds like you like Sugar Glider, but it doesn't sound like an original thought. It sounds like you coming close to something. And maybe as they grow, as this artist grows, I hope they grow. As they grow and they become more into their sound, somebody's going to hear them and not know Sugar Glider. Somebody's going to listen to Omniboy today, whatever today is then. Maybe it'll be 2023, 2022. Somebody's going to listen to Omniboy. I'm going to sound like something way weird and different. And then they'll listen to this artist, and they'll be like, wow, this is so cool. I'm going to make music like them. But they'll have no idea that what they're doing is a weird, like, after shadow of like a song that I made like 6-7 years prior. And I think that happens all the time. That's all that happens, you know, in music and in art in general. And I think it's actually a really cool and beautiful thing, because a lot of people that sometimes feel like they're trapped inside of a stale bucket where they're like they don't have a sound, they're not an enriched sound. You have to remember that nobody's listening to your music or looking at your art the way you do. You're still innovating to a certain degree. You're still adding something, and somebody's going to be touched, inspired, or informed by things that you're doing, and then go on to create or perceive or judge or appreciate other things based off of what you've given them, and that's kind of cool. Anywho, JD. JD says, reminds me of the saying, if you want to make music like your inspirations, listen to their inspirations. What a rabbit hole that would be. It's probably a lack of music vocabulary, says Umbe. If you don't know what bossa nova is, then you just say the nearest thing. We shop music. For sure, for sure. I think that's all it is a lack of, I mean, even I have a lack of music vocabulary. I just happen to know what bossa nova is because I had a phase. I had a very, very strong bossa nova phase. I never thought of people taking inspiration from people who took inspiration from someone else, but I guess that makes sense, just how humans tend to operate. Yeah. For sure. For sure, all the time. Something that's interesting, though, is people taking inspiration from somebody and then surpassing that person as far as notoriety, acclaim, you know, because the world isn't based off of meritocracy. It's not like an even line. A lot of the people that I have taken point from or been inspired by or loved what they did and really did it informed some of my sounds and musical choices. Some of those people are gone, not dead, but like they just don't make music anymore. They quit music and got a job and they went on and did something else, and now I can't even reference them. There are even some artists, like if you listen to my song Magic Girl, there's an artist on that song named Colada. Her vocal stylings on my song Magic Girl informed the way I wrote melodies for the next. I mean, I'm still biting off of that specific thing. She had like a specific like. She had a way of taking like 2 to 3 notes and making an entire vocal melody out of them just by messing with the syncopation or the delivery of them. When I write melodies, a lot of times because I wasn't a singer, I would always try to write like key line, so I can key line. See how much like movement is in that? There's a lot of moving around. When you're singing, or when she was singing, she would do a lot of like like very, very sparse as far as notes. She would do a lot of that. And I remember after I made that song with her, when I would start writing melodies, I would try to simplify them and go like, how can I do this in as little notes as possible? Which is why I was able to be a little bit better about writing like catchy songs. If you listen to a lot of stuff on Love Dream, it isn't as catchy. But Colada is not a singer anymore. Colada has no music out. I don't even think Colada's SoundCloud exists. All of the links that I have to Colada stuff don't happen. For that song, if you listen to that song, the revenue from that song gets split in half, and half of it goes to me, and the other half goes to Colada. And I have no, like, Colada hasn't even withdrawn her half since like late 2016, early 2017. It's just been building up money there. I don't know where Colada is. I don't know. I saw that she was like on Twitter for a second. I tried to DM her and like, yo, like, I don't know what's going on, but like, I got some money for you, like, for the song, but she never responded. I don't know what the heck. But she definitely doesn't make music anymore. Point that I'm making is, sometimes people won't even know your inspirations exist because your inspirations are gone, you know? A lot of people think they credit me for, like, a lot of that melody stuff that I come up with, and I'm not saying that Colada is wholly responsible for all of the melodies that I've ever written. I'm just saying that she informed a lot of what I did, and, you know, it's weird, you know? They're not always around. Now I want to hear the poor man's Omni Boy. Oh, I wish there was some like I'll send you a song. I'll send you if somebody line messages me and wants to hear this person. You can hear him because like if anything, I should be promoting this person. I would like to help this person because they're making decent music, but because of what I've said in the stream, if I post their music, somehow it'll feel like I'm like making fun of them or poking fun at their music. Their music is quality. I'm just saying it's very clear what's happening. It's very clear what's happening. Okay, Jayla says, geez, I'm connecting music to engineering a lot in this stream. We did a class about how engineering innovation all tend to build off of one another, and it reminded me of it. Oh, yeah, see, it's true in all aspects of life, right? Fashion also works this way. If I've seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. I know this quote. Whose quote is that? Somebody told me that quote even recently, but I've been hearing that my whole life. Who is that? Whoa. Yo, you're fast. Oh my god, you're fast. Hold on. Tell me all the secrets that you wanna know. Tell me what you want from me, baby. Has anybody in the stream heard Magic Girl, by the way? Somebody tell me that they've heard the song Magic Girl. That song, please. Tell me all the secrets that I want from me. Tell me what you want from me, baby. Guys, talk to me. I'm losing it. I'm about to lose my freaking mind. That's hilarious. Okay. Tell me all the secrets and I'll let you be. Tell me what you want from me, baby. Okay, it's crazy to think that the Wii has people's first was people's first introduction to bossa nova. But in general, that's not terribly surprising because a lot of kids back then had a Wii and had heard it and then grew up. Yeah, this is very true, Cyber. Lindsay said, this is interesting because I notice when I come up with melodies by singing, there's a lot of repeating the same notes in a row, which is something I rarely do on piano. Yeah, I think one of the main reasons for this, Lindsay, and I could be wrong. This is my take on this. I think it's because if you're singing something, you can sing monotone, but if you're saying a sentence, the words are changing, so you're still conveying an idea. On a piano, if you just hit the same note over and over, it's hard for that to be seen as a unique or a varied idea. There's no dynamics in it. But when you're speaking, even if you're hitting the same note, the same pitch over and over, but the information is changing, it's dynamic. And I think generally when we're making music, we would like to be dynamic in our creation of it. I think the reason why is because you have to worry about syllables when you're singing. Yeah, that's another thing. Syllables. Boy, West Coast. It's Isaac Newton. Did Isaac Newton really say that? Did he really say that? Am I thinking of the right dude? Is that the Apple Man? Is that Apple Man? Steve Jobs? Jaime. Jaime knows what I'm talking about. That's cool, though. That's cool. And one of the adventures of calculus. Oh, screw him, then. Sorry. I hated calculus. Wasn't a fan. Okay, I think my piano playing would benefit from not straying away from that type of repetition, though. I think you're right. I like hitting the same note twice. That's it. I like hitting the same note twice at the end of a phrase. Like how I do for these things. That's so perfect. That's kind of rolled back on itself. Like here. I like stuff like that. I like the melody to bring in the chord. calculus was invented in two places at roughly the same time. I love these stories. I love these stories. Somehow I've internalized the idea that repetition of the same note is boring and accomplishes nothing, but that's just not true. Everyone was studying the same body of work. Yeah. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Ain't a dang thing changed? Ain't a dang thing changed? We're all listening to the same tracks. Were you guys on SoundCloud? Were you guys on SoundCloud in like 2015 when the world really changed to help us? I'm telling you guys, like, I'm so glad that I was on SoundCloud during the bad times. The before times, I should say. The before. I mean, now is the bad time to be on SoundCloud, but I'm so glad I was on SoundCloud in like 2014. If you were on SoundCloud in 2013, 2014, I just think you are a good producer now. You're just a good producer and a good songwriter. Because, God, I don't think we'll ever get that again. That's weird. Sorry. Anyways, not to sound like nostalgic or anything. That was like back when I used to post on SoundCloud all the time, says Jaime. SoundCloud got a bad rap because of mumble rap. I think the thing about SoundCloud, the thing that's important when talking about SoundCloud is that SoundCloud was a social media app. I think a lot of people think of it as like the same way to think of Spotify, but it was not like Spotify. SoundCloud was a social media app. There was a lot of commenting, there was a lot of messaging, there was a lot of befriending people, and I think that early on in my producer career, I benefited immeasurably from being in kind of like a hotbed of other artists who didn't really know anything. Because we were all just posting whatever. None of us could play shows. We didn't even know what that was. Nobody knew how to DJ. Nobody was like, we're going to make money from this one day. Everybody was just, it was kind of like Vine, you know? Everybody was just creating things and talking to each other and collaborating and going like, this is cool, right? My sister drew my album art. You know, everybody was just releasing stuff. Because we didn't ever think we were going to be playing in a club or DJing or performing live on a stage. So we were just making things that didn't really have any context on a stage. Things were fun. One of the things that I guess kind of sucks sometimes about making music now is I have context for how people will react to it. I have fans who could react to it a specific way, and I also know what touring is like, and I know how rooms react to certain sounds and certain music. Back in 2013, I was literally just putting stuff out. I didn't care like how long the song was, how short it was, how loud it was. It's a whole nother thing, the loudness war. I didn't care how compressed it was. We were just putting out interesting ideas and then commenting on them and, you know, reposting them and sharing them. And yeah, the SoundCloud did collapse. That's no longer a thing that happens there. But I think that if you were around for that era of SoundCloud, you just learned things way faster than you would today from like YouTube tutorials, because everybody was trying to learn. In the same way that if you were a YouTuber in the golden era of YouTube, you were learning how to do cool video editing things because everybody was just sharing knowledge and learning, you know, simultaneously. Now I feel like SoundCloud's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to parse SoundCloud. I'm post SoundCloud collapse, says Umbe. Don't be sad. Because you're part of a cooler thing. That's the thing. It's never all bad. There's always pros and cons. So, think about it this way, Umbe. I was there for the golden age of SoundCloud. And now I live in the collapse of SoundCloud. But infrastructure was built. So for example, Umbe, when I was first in SoundCloud and I was making songs, making music, there was EDM. EDM existed. I'm not talking about EDM. There was people like Porter Robinson, which if you can remember back then, did not sound anything like he sounded like right now. He was EDM back then. That's why he was playing shows. Not because he was super, you know, fun, nerdy, cute, you know, this type of music. He was making EDM. So he was playing shows. Skrillex was playing shows. Deadmau5 is playing shows. We have our titans in the industry there. And EDM. SoundCloud was different. We were like this weird alt umbrella where we were making just weird stuff. Like I was there, Ujiko was there, Bowen was there, Maxa was there. We were just making weird stuff. We could never play shows, Umbe. There was no Omniboy headlining show. There was no Omniboy tour. I could never tour. I could never fly to another country and play a show because it just no one cared. Now, fortunately for you, Umbe, a lot of those SoundCloud artists have graduated out of SoundCloud and built this like platform and industry now where somebody that's just starting out right now, or somebody like you, Umbe, I don't know exactly what your music sounds like, but I'm saying for any weirder music, there is now a stage for people. So maybe you weren't there for the golden age of SoundCloud, but the ceiling was a lot lower for us back then. I wasn't, for example, making any money off of my music, nor was I able to sustainably perform. So yeah, that's a glass half full way to look at it for you, Umbe. I mean, you live now in a world where the ceiling is a lot higher for veteran producers. You know. Anywho, JD says I still am. I still can't believe I hit the download cap. Oh, I definitely hit that cap. I definitely hit that cap. I remember getting excited, says Jaime, when someone would download something. Oh, oh, oh. Now we are getting nostalgic. Let's pull out of this nosedive. Wendy says, "Do you think I can get a quick little rendition of Vanilla?" Sure, 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 sure. One of these days, Omni, your streams are going to get me downloading FL again and making some. Oh, do you not have FL anymore? Anyways, making something for fun. Got too many things catching dust. Yeah, just make something. You know, Jaime, I was. Hold on. Let me read Umbe's first. Umbe says, "My music is like mystery soup. Sounds scary. Sometimes you take a sip and it's like the other half of the time it's gross, but sometimes someone else likes it." Ah, okay, so that's like my music then. That's fair. Me and you, Umbe, we're two peas in a pod. Jaime, one of the biggest things that I hate about my current state of music is music has obligation now. You know, I mean, it's inescapable. It's going to have obligation, but my music has more obligation now than it once did, and I can't go back. There's no mental conditioning I can make to go back. It's kind of like once you open the can of worms, you can't get them back in. I have made music for years. The first day that I performed a show with my music. Something like changed a little bit where it was like, okay, well now I know that that's possible, so now that's something I have to think about. The first time you ever make money off of a song, you're like, oh crap, that's a thing I can do. Now I have to think about that. And even if you do chill, like, not everything I release has been specifically to further my career, control, or make more money. Because things like Ego Death or Daydream were extremely self-indulgent. Those are things that I just wanted to do. Things like Lush Stream and Quick Breath were a little bit more so because I wanted people to listen to my music. Can you play Bon Bon? Ask somebody. Yeah, I can get to both of those, Bon Bon and Vanilla. But I think I think one of the one of the things that I don't like is when I used to get home from school. I used to get home from school, and I remember going to my computer because basically the only thing to do inside my home was I could play video games. I mean, it's like most people's homes. I could play video games, or I could make music. I mean, the internet. There wasn't really anything to do on the internet. I didn't have Twitter. You know, thank heavens. So all I really did was sit on my computer. I had this game called Gunbound. Tell me what's funny, Lindsay. I had this game called Gunbound that I would play, which was kind of like a free MMO. It was weird. It was like a turn-based shooter. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it, but I had Gunbound and I had FL Studio 3 on my computer, and those are the two things. Hold on. I think somebody's knocking on my door. Word up. I mean, I'll be here. Okay. Sorry about that. Um, Maintenance people are here. They're gonna fix one of my windows, I guess. Maybe they're gonna give me a fancy crank on this one, so I can actually close it. Oh, but then I won't be able to fit the screen on. I'll talk to him about it when he gets back. Anyways, I can't remember. Okay, so there's nothing to do in my house but play Gunbound and mess around in FL Studio 3. So FL Studio 3 was basically like a video game to me. I just messed around in it, and I messed around with sounds. And then when I finally got my first synthesizer, which I did talk about last stream, and I didn't show it to anybody, so I'll do it this time. This was my first synthesizer. Oh, very sentimental. Anyways, it's called a Roland SH201, and it's pretty entry level, like for subtractive synthesis. If you were somebody that was learning subtractive synthesis, I mean you can't really buy this one anymore, but I would recommend getting a Roland because they have really it's really easy to shape sounds on it. So I bought my first synthesizer, and then I literally would just sit in my room, guys. Like I wasn't in a band or anything. I would just sit in my room with it plugged into a guitar amp, and I was just turning knobs and just messing around, figuring out how to do subtractive synthesis, figuring out how to do like wave shaping, figuring out how to do pitch envelopes, figuring out how to do filter cutoffs, LFOs, figuring out all of that stuff. Not because I wanted to instill it in my music, not because I wanted to further my career, but just because I was bored and I just wanted to mess around with something. It was like a game to me. And then I would come home. I didn't even know how to save sounds on it. That's another thing. Because I throw away the manuals for everything when I buy them. It's a problem I have, but I threw away the manual for the synthesizer. And so when I was building sounds for it, I would build a sound, and then when I would turn it on the next day, it would start off with a sine wave, and I would just memorize how to get back to that sound. And that essentially made me a lot better at sound design pretty early on. All I'm saying, High Man Company, is that I used to mess around with stuff just to have fun, just because I was bored and I wanted to have fun. And as I grew older and developed more obligations in my life, as well as developed more obligation to music, it changed how I was and was not able to spend time with music. Now when I spend time on music, I'm like, dang, I worked on music instead of played with music. I worked on music today for 7 hours and I didn't even make a song. I didn't even get a song started. I failed. Whereas when I was a kid, or when I was just now getting into music, it wasn't necessarily, there was no fail. It was just messing around on the keyboard, turning knobs, figuring out what everything did. I was just bored. I didn't have anything else to do. And now there is some obligation. If I have a stream for 6 hours on YouTube tomorrow for the stream, there is going to be, and somewhere in the back of my head, an obligation to create a tune for you guys to hear. I can't just sit around for 6 hours messing around with noises. I have to like make something. And that's not anything that anybody's pushing on me. It's just a thing that lives inside of me now. Because I know I can make a song now, so now when I'm working on music, I should be making one. It's a weird thing. So I feel you, Jaime, and like wanting to like dig back down into stuff. I just, one of the things I miss most is I just used to be able to just crush hours into random sound design that went nowhere. When I first got my MIDI fighter, I would just mess around. Yeah, I just would like to be able to mess around again. That was a big thing, and I think that I can probably find some way to get there. I can probably find some way to get there. Oh, he's working on one of the windows right now. Anyways, I can probably find some way to get there. It's just hard. And I think that a lot of people will be able to identify with that or relate to that. It's just, maybe even if you're drawing, it's harder to just doodle aimlessly with no finished product than it was when you were maybe a little bit younger. Anywho, wow, I got pretty far from the bottom. Gunbound, oh man, that takes me back to when I was a kid, says Roy Bizzle. It makes me so happy you still own your first cent. Yeah, I mean, I can't get rid of it. I never use it. It actually has some circuitry issues in it. Parts of it are broken, but the fact that they don't sell it anymore, and the fact that it was like, if you actually look in that video that I showed in the stream, if you look at that video of me playing Spring Street with that pop punk band, this is the keyboard that's on top. It's what I used to play the lead of the song that we go into. So this thing has been with me for a really, really long time. This conversation has me feeling really nostalgic for my high school days. Yeah, I'm not trying to make it a nostalgia stream. I'm sorry. JD says, I miss making music just out of boredom, but I guess that's part of advancing, right? That's just part of growing. I don't think you can ever really get back there. I mean, even if you do make music out of boredom or you mess around, you'll never get back to that headspace you were in where it was just fun and that's all. Anywho. Now, different window, guys. Jeremiah, those beginning plinks are from a song that I have called Bon Bon. Somebody requested that a little bit higher up in the stream. So I hope you enjoyed that older track. Wrote that 5 years ago now. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Jeremiah. You're the one that requested it. Is Bon Bon still your top request? Not at all. Yeah, no. I would say top request is Gucci chords. I should probably go talk to this guy. Because he's eventually going to want to probably fix the line in the kitchen. Also, I get really nervous when the maintenance guys are doing maintenance really close to my TV, and he's really close to my TV. And I know these are professionals, nothing's going to happen, but my TV is everything. My TV is everything, guys. I don't spend money on any, like, I really don't do it. For me, fun for me, very rarely do I spend like more than $100. And that TV was, to this date, the most money I've ever spent at one time. Except for my car. It's different. It's different though. I can drive that. I can't drive my TV. Okay, oh wait. Did the chat freeze? Chat's on freeze? Come on, chat's on freeze. Chat's fine. Chat's fine. Alright, guys. I'm gonna start going over news a little bit. I do have 2 new releases, or at least the newest releases that I've put out. They're called Quick Breath and Ego Death. Please listen to them. Please listen to them. You can find them on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Group, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. There's currently no like super new stuff coming out, which is weird. Guys. It's really weird for me. We're in the middle of summer and I have no new music out, no new shows. It's truly a new chapter of my career. Also, Bowen worked on the music for some animated thing that just got their short like put on Cartoon Network. So, I mean, I'm not Bowen, and you supporting Bowen does nothing really for me. But that's the homie, and that's really cool. I'm glad that is a thing that happened. So please go check that out. If you don't know who Bowen is, I mean, I guess I can talk about him in another stream. That guy is like, he's cool. He's like a white British me. Not maybe in music, but in attitude. Anyways, appreciation to him. Other news, really, tomorrow we're doing the production stream, so it's going to be a long one, guys. Strap in or come in late or not come in at all, whatever it is you guys want to do. The production streams keep getting more stable, so I'm looking forward to this. Fingers crossed, this will be a stable stream. When I say they keep getting more stable, I don't mean that they are stable. It's just they started off extremely unstable and they keep getting better each stream. So let's hope that we can have a stable stream tomorrow. Um, yeah, Jaime. Bowen has a new album coming out sometime this year. It's really weird, like releasing an album this year. Releasing an album this year doesn't sound like a fun time. So shouts out to everybody who's actually going through with it. I would not, um, because when I release an album, I like to have like stuff, around it. I like to be able to play shows. I like to be able to connect with people, and I just feel so isolated right now that maybe I'm going to keep all of my music to myself. Also, I don't even know the context of like what my next album is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a collaborative one, if it's going to be a chill ambient one. I'm in kind of this really weird headspace where I love how much identity my projects have had. Um, um, I really like the identity that my projects have had. Like if you listen to Daydream, there's an identity, a strong one. Less Dream, a strong identity. Ego Death, Quick Breath, Tall Tales, Signals. These all have a really strong identity and they have a full narrative. And I feel like lately it's like I'll make a song and it'll sound like Daydream. I'll make another one that sounds like Less Dream. I'll make another one that sounds like Quick Breath. One that sounds like Ego Death. I've had like these like housey ideas, these like houseier tunes, but they don't have the identity that I want for a full release. They feel more like a side thing. Um, because I don't know how to tell a story with them. There's like a story in Quick Breath. There's a story in Love Letters. There's a story in Speed Dream. There's a story in Tall Tales. There's a story in Signals. There's a story in Ego Death. There's a story in most of my releases. But for like that housey stuff that I've been making lately, there's no story there. So I don't feel as comfortable making that like a dream series. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the fence. Maybe I do like a double release like I did with Quick Breath Ego Death. I don't know. But basically all I'm saying is the newest album or body of work really doesn't have much form. It did before I went into quarantine, but since I've been in here, it doesn't really have it. Anyways, um, thank you, Liana, for always popping in and out. Whether it's a production stream or not, I do really appreciate it. Um, Nap series, not quite a dream. I like that, Jaime. House Party has a running narrative in that they were made when you're stuck in the house. So House Dream can be a goal of getting out. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah, there's no story there, and it's not. I'm not saying just because things don't have a story doesn't mean I can't release them. I mean, I've released tons of remixes. I've had Lucy's and singles. I've also had House of Omni, which although had a concept, didn't really have a narrative because all of the songs were made in part by different people. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do right now. But I'm trying to tell myself it's no rush. I don't need to figure that out anytime super soon. Um, I don't need to figure any of that out super soon. So instead, I'm just chilling for this year. So everybody else who's like putting out albums this year, like shouts out to you because right now I'm just trying to get through the year and figure things out. Trying to get the stream on lock. Um, try to get the stream on lock and then figure out exactly what this is. This is. But the fact that Bowen's coming out with an album this year is interesting to me because Bowen's last album, as some of you know, is Pale Machine, which came out in 2014, I believe. 14. Yeah. 2014 that album came out. So Bowen hasn't really put out an LP in 6 years and has remained important and relevant and, well, that's hard. Important and relevant to me and a lot of my friends, but I don't know. Actually, as far as in the world, I can't speak to, the temperature check in the streets, but I mean, I still care about Bowen. A lot of us do. So, like, it's interesting, you know, that Bowen's putting out a second LP now. Granted, Bowen hasn't been wholly inactive. You know, Bowen did several game soundtracks in their absence. They did the what was it called, Beautiful World or something like that, and they also did Snipper Clips, and they did this recent Cartoon Network thing. So they've been active, but as we all know, you know, sometimes those things don't translate. Maxo's been very active, you know, but hasn't released personal stuff. I've been very active this year. You know, some of you guys have seen my music in like little button ads here, or like for Discord. Like I had some stuff like, and like I'm working on this game soundtrack right now, so it's like I'm still working on stuff. But as far as the fans are concerned, that stuff doesn't matter unless there's like new stuff on Spotify. So the fact that Bowen hasn't put out music technically, real like a project in 6 years is like cool, because it's like, okay, it hasn't even been a full year. I haven't even not released music in one whole year. Next month will be the 1 year mark, but it hasn't even been one full year. But I honestly feel like I'm like wasting away. It's weird. It's weird, but I think I just need to chill. I think I've like been releasing so regularly for so long that the idea of not releasing music for a year sounds like career suicide. But obviously, that hasn't been the case for some people. Like I said, Bowen, that's wild. 6 years. Pale Machine was so long ago. We still know those songs. What if Nice Dream was the last thing I released, guys? Would you even be here? I don't know. Probably not. It's weird, though. Wow. That is really weird. There's this, what's that in the back? It's a Roland SH201. I was talking about it a little bit earlier in the stream. Mance. He did a live show for the 420 Fest thing. He did, I mean, and played a new song that I'm so excited to hear what else he's been working on. Word up. Yeah. He's solid. That's the homie. I think that when you release music, I mean, I'm not going to get into this whole conversation right now because we're almost at 3 hours, but as an artist, unfortunately, relevance being like part of your meters that you have to maintain, you can coast off of like really weird things. Like sometimes an artist, like when you think about an artist like Rihanna hasn't put out music in how long? Like Rihanna hasn't put out an album in how long are we talking now? But Rihanna remains relevant partially because of legendary status, but also because she's remained active. She's done things. She has like fashion things here. She has like makeup stuff over here. And then it's like, I haven't put out music in a year, but I've been active. I have like my little quarantine videos. I have my stream that happen every day. I'm doing production stuff. I was pretty active on social media up until a couple of months ago. You can stay around and you can stay active without releasing music, and it can kind of trick society into thinking that you're still around, like still doing things. And one easy, big way to do that was by playing shows, but since now we can't play shows, I think a lot of artists are like, crap, how do I like keep everybody in the know that I exist without just releasing music constantly? No, definitely not a new synth, Mance. That was my first synth, so in essence it is the exact opposite of a new synth. It's my oldest synthesizer. I still finally listen to artists I think are dead. For sure, Leon. I think a lot of people do. I'm just talking about the majority of people. The majority of people, if you as an artist release music and then you go away for a really long time, when you come back, they're not going to be here. There are a few really wild examples of the opposite of that. People like Frank Ocean, people like Rihanna, who just have coasted off of like bubble relevance, where like things will happen here and there that will remind you that this person exists, and go like, oh crap, we can't wait for a new album from this person. But that is hard. That is hard a lot of the time. But yeah, Bowen's had like quite a few things going on that's helped him stay, you know, around and relevant in his technical absence, since it hasn't released anything for 6 years. I'm trying to think of another artist, like another artist like that I know of that's like that. But it's hard. It's really hard. It's really weird and hard. Nicholas says, artist content is left in the infinite timelessness of the interwebs, making our use of media timeless and indefinite. I hate when artists just fall off the face of the planet, says J-Lo, like Maddion. I didn't care that he didn't release music, but there was radio silence for such a long time. I love this. I love how many different points of view I'm seeing in this chat right now, like almost immediately back to back. So somebody saying, the internet saves things forever, so you don't have to worry necessarily about relevance because your stuff is always going to be there. People are always going to listen to artists that they like. Or somebody that's like, yo, I hate it when artists disappear. That stuff sucks. Like, where are you? Like, I don't like this radio silence thing. It's interesting. Um, yeah, there are that many different types. But the fact of the matter is, most people, because of the way, they consume things by the majority, are going to need a certain level of, hey, I'm still alive. People need to do that a lot. Kind of like how Jayla says about Maddie on. People get frustrated when artists disappear or are inactive for long periods of time. And that was basically what Bowen was. Bowen was extremely inactive for a pretty long period of time there. And I think I've never necessarily been inactive, but I have switched up enough times to where it feels like I've been inactive. For a lot of the people that listen to Bon Bon Sugar Glider, I've been inactive for about 5 years. For a lot of the people that have listened to Let's Stream, I've been inactive for about a couple of years because people usually kind of hear a sound and they're like, I just can't wait for more of this music, and then they don't get it for a while. If I like an artist, I just listen to what they make when they make it. I've never really been upset about an artist being inactive. Jaime agrees with this. Here's the thing. When I was young and I liked Linkin Park, they didn't have social media, so the only thing I knew from them was music videos and music. When new music came out, I got it. When a new shirt came out, I saw it. When a new music video came out, I looked at it. When a new, tour was announced, I didn't go to it, but I saw that a new tour had been announced. But I think with social media, the fact that you guys are even listening to me talk right now, the fact that you guys even know what my speaking voice sounds like, is breaking a barrier that makes people think I should be more active. Like, if I stopped streaming and I didn't post to Twitter or whatever, I think people would wonder, like, what happened. Just because it is not the norm for an artist to do that. If you're an artist that truly doesn't post on social media and you just, like, leave, and that's your norm, people will probably be fine. Like, there are a lot of artists I like that don't even have Twitter. I can't even find them on social media. There's a lot of artists like Ehi. Ehi's my guy. I talk about Ehi all the time on the stream. I think Ehi posts, for every 100 posts I make, Ehi makes one. For every 200 streams I do, Ehi makes one. Like, no, I don't think Ehi's actually ever done a live stream. I think, so for this, it's like every 500 streams I do, Ehi does one. Ehi is very away from social media. Ehi's also another person that hasn't released music in a pretty long time. Like, we remember Limeade, like, as Ehi. He hasn't released music as Ehi. Ehi Robo hasn't had an album in several years. And so, yeah, there are some artists that just operate that way, and sometimes their fan base will respect them for operating that way or allow them that space. My fan base, not you guys. When I used to say my fan base, I'm talking about when I say my fan base, I'm talking about my listener base, not necessarily you guys. You guys are different. Franco's is an interesting example because people feel so entitled to new music from him, and it's kind of disturbing to me how people disconnect an artist's work from them being an actual human being. Yeah. It goes back to Aggie versus Omni combo. Yes, for sure. Different styles, different artistic styles. Weirdly enough, by the time I really register, hey, X hasn't released anything in a while, they usually release something right after. Liana says, I'm the opposite. Liana, usually I'll be like, oh, whatever happened to so-and-so? And then I'll go check them out, and it turns out they've released like 3 EPs or something like that, and I've just been asleep. But my point is that my specific audience will punish me for being away for too long. Whether they're doing it maliciously, or they're doing it subconsciously, or they're not doing it at all, and it's like the computer, the internet, the social media, the algorithms doing it, I have witness that if I don't release music for a while, people will engage with me less. And if I don't post for a while, my follower count will drop. For example, pretty much since Christmas last year, I've pretty regularly lost Instagram followers because I just don't post on there as much and I don't stream on there all the time like I used to. I used to stream on there like 2 hours a day. Don't do it anymore. And so I've noticed the regression. Same thing with Twitter, since I've been kind of like not posting fun dancing videos on Twitter lately. My like follower count has dropped like gradually, like for the past few months. And so the only thing that's been the opposite, the only thing that's gone up is YouTube, because YouTube is the only thing that I'm still actively, frequently on, because I just didn't want to break the schedule of the streams. But it is so easy to be forgotten about. So while people will say things like, you know, the internet's great because it has all of our music up forever and anybody can listen to you whenever you want, you have to remember that that also oversaturates things, and it just makes you easy to get like lost in the fray, regardless of how much progress you've had. So, all of that being said, Bowen's putting out an album this year after taking a break for 6 years, and I can't help but look at it and go, that 6 years would crush my career. Like I would not be able to sustain myself over that 6 years of not having released another album. It just wouldn't work for me. So it does work for some artists, but not necessarily for others. Algorithms are unforgiving on nearly every platform. Any platform, says Chibi Lucy. This is true. This is true. It's another weird thing as an artist. You have to study algorithms. Isn't that so stupid? That's not something we should have to do. But anywho, yeah. 6-year break? Jesus Christ. I'm at an 11-month break, guys. I'm at an 11-month break, and I've seen what it's done to my career. It's hurt some. It's hurt my career. It's probably been pretty good for my mental health or whatever, if that's a thing. I guess then, what is the goal for followers, says Liana? To maintain? To grow infinitely? I ask because I know a lot of people obsess over numbers. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about followers, and I'm going to go all the way about to MySpace for this one. Remember MySpace? Followers work on two different levels. Followers for normies, excuse the use of the word normie. Followers for normies work on a level of clout. They want to feel good. They want to feel like I'm popular, I'm well liked, I'm famous, so I have a bunch of followers. But Jesse makes a very important point that followers for an independent artist or an entrepreneur in music are literal marketing. Followers literally can equal dollars. Followers can literally equal job opportunities in a lot of cases. So, while I'm not somebody that's like, oh no, I need 10K followers in order to do this, I'm more so somebody that's like, oh, if I'm losing followers, when I'm going into like business talks, or I'm going into a meeting, or I'm going into a marketing thing, and somebody sees that, they are going to immediately translate to that like, oh, this person's falling off, or oh, this person's past their peak. In the same way that if you looked at a game series, and like the first one sold this many copies, the second one sold this many copies, and the third one sold this many copies, you're like, oh, I guess people just don't like it anymore. So maybe it's not a wise investment for us to invest in this game company. It seems like they're falling off. So followers, that is what the goal is for followers as an entrepreneur. The goal for followers isn't necessarily to skyrocket, but it is infinite growth, essentially. In the same way that, like, for a corporation, you always want your revenue to infinitely grow, even if it's growing by a very small margin. It's always better to be growing than to stagnate, because stagnating is the first step towards decline. And business talk, I'm talking business stuff, right? We've seen people do this. We've seen people fall off and then have like a resurgence. We've seen people come back for sure, but it's definitely not the rule, it's the exception to it. It's very stressful, says Jesse. I need to start actually taking my social media seriously for my next project, but the state of the world just makes me want to stay away from it all. I feel you, Jesse. That's the hard thing that a lot of us are having to deal with. Some people are just like really good and hardwired and able to like work really hard through all of this. Like they're able to still push out funny content like that. I can't do it during all this. Like I've had to take a step back. And while everybody on the internet will say like, oh, that's good for you, baby, like take care of you, self-help, self-love, baby, they'll say that. But the industry is not. The industry is what we're afraid of. I'm not afraid of my fans. I'm afraid of the industry. And the industry does not care about your mental health or self-care or anything like that. You will get punished for taking time away. Lumbe says, in my opinion, you can take a break from social media right now. Not worth the mental effort. Just come back later. I know. I appreciate you saying that, Umbe. That is a very sweet sentiment, and I do appreciate that coming from you or anyone. And I agree with you, by the way. Sometimes it's really not worth the mental effort, but you have to keep in mind that the industry does not care about mental effort and all that stuff. So if I come back later and I have declined, or now I'm making less money, or now I can't afford rent, or now, etc., I can't tell my landlord, like, hey, I was depressed. Can you, like, give me a break? And so, you're right, though, Umbe. You're right, though. I haven't been active on Twitter, so obviously I've made my decision. The cognitive dissonance that you need in order to do that, I can't, but it does suck that you get punished otherwise. Yeah, you get punished for the break. There is no right, there's no win. It's an L either way. It's just one L is going to hurt your brain and the other one's going to hurt your wallet. But you're going to take an L. I'm trying to draw now. You're telling me I gotta learn statistics and stuff. Alright guys, I need to do the hush hour. It's been, we are officially at the 3-hour mark. This is not an in the studio stream. It should not be this long. That was more so to people who don't have to make a living off their work right now. Unfortunately, Omni's totally right. No breaks from capitalism. Yeah. Oh. That's a good point, Umbe. Yeah. If social media is not your career, if it doesn't bleed into your career and your well-being as far as finances, then yeah, freaking stay away from it. Nobody cares. Just take care of yourself. Getting extra followers or extra likes isn't really gonna make the world go round. Take a break. Is it time to go? Yeah, it should. The window guy's gonna be in my room soon. And I really don't. For obvious reasons, want to have this poor guy, like, on camera. And also, you guys won't be able to hear me talk if he brings the tools in here. Hey, is that Sevka? Thanks for engaging. Hope you and everyone has a good day. Guys, thank you so much for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I appreciate it. It was good conversation today. Even with all that stuff I said towards the end about how garbage the music industry is and how everything's declining and I'm falling away into a garbage can, I'm still not going to be on Twitter today, so I'm just going to be chilling. Some of you might have noticed that I've started just updating my Line story instead of updating my Instagram story. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm literally throwing my career away. I should probably update my Instagram story so people will know I'm not dead. But I've just been updating my Line story, which is like, nobody looks at that. I'm gonna put booty pics in it. Anyway, thank you everybody for being respectful to me and being polite to each other. I'll see you in tomorrow's stream. Tomorrow is going to be a production stream again. Reminder for that. So it is going to be long. Come in on time. Feel free to leave early or come in late. It's fine. I'll be there no matter what. Hopefully it runs smoothly. We're going to be dissecting some songs that I already have out, touching on a lot of things. I'm kind of just going to do freeform tomorrow. I'm not going to really stick to any idea unless I get some strong and agreeable suggestions within the stream. What is that, says JLo. Line is a Korean messaging app. I could talk more about it, but I don't. See these little guys over here? See these little like animals? They're from that messaging app. It's a whole thing. We can get into it in Monday's stream or maybe even in Friday's stream if you're in it. Just remind me to talk about it. It is a whole thing. It's like a big part of my life. But anywho, I'm going to be out now. I'm going to go. I need to go check on my TV and this fine gentleman who's fixing my windows. enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody. Stay safe. Eat something healthy. I'll see you here tomorrow at 9 a.m. for morning medley number 185. Abba.